Okay. We're doing good. 89%.
You had toilet paper in your butt.
Don't! Good afternoon, everyone. Matt, Nomadic Native, back with you. Thanks for tuning in. In my last video, I told you guys about our upgrade to Born Lithium Batteries, and that sparked a lot of conversation about the price of the batteries and the cost of the upgrade. And I guess that's to be expected. These batteries aren't cheap by anyone's measure, including ours. I also mentioned in that video that we're incurring some additional expense upgrading other equipment and getting everything playing well with each other. And that produced even more conversation about additional expenses if you're going to upgrade. A lot of folks said that they're considering the upgrade, and a lot of folks said they really want these batteries. So I thought now would be a good time to make a follow-up video to talk about that. Now, I don't want to talk about our system because we're upgrading an established solar power system. You might think, well, yeah, there's probably going to be some additional expense in that, and you would be right. But if you've done any research on these Born batteries, you've probably heard them being described as true drop-in replacements for the 12-volt coach batteries. That pretty much every coach has, right? And you might be looking at doing that type of upgrade, and as it so happens, we had an opportunity to see that type of upgrade. It never seems to fail. Every time we run into and meet up with our friends Kenny and Sabrina, we always end up talking about them in a video, and I guess this one's not going to be any different. If you haven't met Kenny and Sabrina, check them out here on YouTube at Moving Forward Adventures. Great people. I'm sure you guys are going to love them as much as we do. Kenny's become a great friend over the years. He's a go-to kind of guy, somebody that's always there for me if I need him. He started doing some work with Winnebago recently. Interested to see where that takes him, and he also has a podcast that he runs in addition to his YouTube channel. Sabrina, a beautiful smile, very intelligent. Something a lot of people don't know about Sabrina. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. She is hysterically funny when you get to know her and she gets comfortable with you. She's the kind of funny that has everybody in tears around the campfire, that kind of funny. Just really, really hilarious. And bonus, she is a doctor. Okay? And she's the type that has a great big heart, always willing to give professional medical advice out there in the field if we need it when we're hiking or something, like she did for our friend Bonnie recently when we went to hike Palm Canyon.
Remember, our doctor says call 911.
Yes, and all bleeding stops eventually.
She's hilarious. Really cracks me up. Check them out here on YouTube at Moving Forward Adventures. Now, the reason I bring them up is because they did what I would call the drop-in replacement type of upgrade to Born Lithium Batteries about a month or so before they arrived here in Quartzsite to camp with us. And I think what they did was you pull out the old batteries, drop in the new batteries, hook them up, and everything worked, and that was it. They didn't incur any additional expenses at the time. Okay, if you're considering doing that type of upgrade, there's a couple of things that you might want to consider, that you might want to know about before you make the final decision, okay? Because these batteries are not cheap, and it's one thing to invest in the batteries, go ahead and go through that expense. But it's another when you discover that there might be some more expense to go through after you've already installed the batteries, okay? So that's what we're talking about. And these are not hidden costs by any stretch of the imagination. These are just things that you might not know or that you might not think about when you're considering the upgrade. Okay. So, first thing, What you might not know about Born Lithium Batteries is that they will not take a charge below 24 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? They will give you power all the way down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you get into weather where it's 24 degrees Fahrenheit or below, they will not allow you to charge the batteries using your generator or your plug-in or however you charge them. They will not take a charge. So I think it's because of that, and probably because they're kind of pricey, that typically what most people do when they upgrade to these batteries is they will move them from that location underneath the stairs to a compartment next door, to one of the enclosed basement compartments, to better help control the temperature and to, I don't know, maybe secure them a little better. And our friends Dwight and Karina, who upgraded to Battleborn while they were here, that's what they did. They took them from their location underneath the stairs and moved them over to the bay right next door. So that comes at an additional expense. If you don't know about the temperature requirements for these batteries, well, you probably just took them right underneath the stairs, and then you find out about that later, and then you move them. So another expense that you might run into. Late model coaches, typically your gas coaches, Class A's, Class C's, that have the batteries underneath the stairs, they will have some type of meter in the coach to give a state of charge indication for those batteries. Typically what I've seen is this is some type of little 4-light meter indicating 25, 50, 75, and 100% state of charge. I've also seen them, the little lights in conjunction with actual voltage readings, okay, written beside the lights. Okay, so you take, how do those meters work? Typically, the batteries that are installed underneath the stairs in these coaches are flooded deep cycle batteries. And let's say when they're fully charged, if you read the volts, it would be 12.6. And at full discharge, 50% of their capacity, you can't go below that. Let's say they're reading 12.1. Well, as they're providing power to the coach and they're under load, that reading will start to drop. 12.5, 12.4, 12.3, 12.2, 12.1, and done. They have to be recharged. And that little meter that's installed in the coach, that's what it's reading, is the voltage as it's dropping under load. Now you take those batteries out and you put these lithiums in. What changes? These batteries don't drop in voltage like that under load. They maintain a constant 13.1, give or take a point, until they hit the last 5% of their charge. And that's when I understand they will start to drop off in voltage, in their indicated voltage. So that little 4-light bar meter that comes in these coaches for those old batteries, anytime you look at that, it's probably going to say 100% state of charge because it's reading 13.1 volts, and that's even better than 12.6, right? So what kind of problems can that cause you? Remember, they're going to read that 13.1 for 95% of their charge. In the last 5%, that's when they start to drop off. Now, I haven't seen that with my own eyes. We've only discharged ours down to about 24%. So I've not seen that, but that's what people have told me, and that's what I've read. That's when it starts to happen, is that last 5%. So what could happen? Here's a scenario for you. Let's say you go to one of the national parks and you want to go out and explore the park for the day. So you get up in the morning, and before you leave, you check your little 4-light bar meter, and it says 100%, just like it always does, because it's reading that 13.1 volts, and you think everything's great, and you take off for the day. Unbeknownst to you, it wasn't really at 100%, it was at 7%. And shortly after you left, it hit the last 5% state of charge, and by the time you got back, your batteries were dead. Or, how about, maybe this might be a little far-fetched, but before you go to bed at night, you check that little 4-light bar meter, and it says 100%. You go to bed, you wake up in the morning, the same thing happened. You hit that last 5%, and in the morning, your batteries are dead. You got to run your generator, charge them up. So How do you solve that issue? Well, what you need is a battery bank monitor. That's a different type of meter for this type of battery bank. Well, it's not a different type of meter, but what it gives you is a true state of charge expressed as a percentage. So at any time you check a battery bank monitor, you can see if you're 40% charged, 60% charged, or if you're 7% charged and you need to run your generator before you take off into the national park that day, right? So you don't come back with dead batteries. What does that cost? Well, I think while Kenny was here, he woke up one morning and he found his battery bank at 12.5. So he was in that last 5% state of charge. And he caught it, started his generator, everything was fine. We talked about it, and he got one of the Victron battery bank monitors. It's Bluetooth enabled, so he was able to, after it was installed, set it up and get all the readings right on his either iPhone or Android. I think it has an app for both. I know it does for iPhone. And so now, at any given time, he can, either look at the little round meter for the Victron or bring it up on his iPhone and know his state of charge and know if he needs to run his generator and charge his battery bank. That's about, I think you can find those for about $180, somewhere between $180 and $200 for that particular battery bank monitor. So there's a couple of extra costs that you might not have known about or thought about, even if you're going to do the most basic of upgrades to the lithium batteries. So there you go. I think that's about it for this video. We're getting ready to head north. I think we're going up to Lake Havasu for a while and do some kayaking. And then we're going on into Nevada, back to Las Vegas, because we really like Las Vegas. If you haven't subscribed, we invite you to subscribe and follow along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you soon.